Have you been feeling bored of the game lately? Have you been thinking, I don't even feel like getting on? Have you thought maybe it is time to go apply for a job or go outside a bit more? Then you're most likely experiencing burnout. And while not hopping on the video game is not a bad thing, it's more so how you feel about not wanting to play the game. It's that kind of I want to play, but I just don't have it in me. That is more so what I'm meaning when I'm discussing burnout. Now, if you're just, I don't play the game anymore, or I don't feel like playing the game because I do other stuff and I'd rather do the other stuff, you're already winning. But for those that use gaming as relaxation and they don't feel like it's relaxing, then this video is for you. And I want to go over some of the reasons that I believe are the primary cause to your burnout and why you feel this way. So, what exactly has changed? To start, how you play the games has gone through massive changes over the years, from playing locally on consoles to sprawling online networks. With those changes comes greed. Continuously expand for great monetary gain. When there's money to be made, an industry can pump out content at explosive rates. New games, or new in-game features, or in-game items, battle passes, and more to start to make a gamer feel overwhelmed and maybe even a bit taken advantage of. Many of these factors can in fact cause burnout. Let's focus in on multiplayer a little bit. Multiplayer is amazing. It gives you the ability to play games online with friends. They don't have to come over anymore. If friends move away, you can still have a sense of a relationship with them just because you're able to play online games with them. The innovation of high-speed internet at the same time as the gaming advancements, all amazing things. But the big issue with multiplayer games is now studios want retention. They want players to stay on the game as long as possible. The reason they want this is because you're more likely to spend money inside the game that will benefit the company in the long run. They release a new skin every week. They release a new map every month. They release new content every quarter. Things like this and player retention is where burnout is going to start. Now, I want to be clear. A lot of this is just going to be my opinion in general. And to be honest with you, I am a little bit of an outsider looking in. I work a full-time job. I have a significant other. There's a few games that I like to play that I haven't really been burnt out of in a long time. And lately, I just haven't really experienced this burnout. Now, if we rewind back to COVID, I experienced a lot of burnout. There's a lot of games that I was playing because I was able to stay inside all day long. And I feel like a lot of us just got burnt out of everything in general during COVID because of the time spent inside. But I don't really want to focus on COVID for this video. COVID was a very niche kind of thing. We don't spend this much time inside. Businesses aren't closed like they were, things like that. So let's take COVID aside. As an outsider looking in, part of me does believe a lot of it is the gaming companies wanting retention, wanting you to feel that FOMO and spend money. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on how the gaming industry works and if players spend time on a game, does that equal money? Does retention of a player being online on the game equal money? It could, because think of Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is probably one of the most popular games. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's probably the number one selling of all time. There's no really in-game or in browser or in anything where you can spend money besides aesthetic stuff, which aesthetics are already generally free. They have their realm system, but most people either set their own server up, as very popularized on YouTube now, or they'll go to a different website to pay for a server. So how does Minecraft benefit from your retention? My assumption or my opinion is that they can say, look at our live player count to advertisers or to people that they want to collaborate with or companies that they want to collaborate with. Look at our live player count, look at our previous 5-year player count, and that can equate to money or investments to improve the game. So retention isn't always about you are spending money on the game. It's sometimes just about keeping you on that game so that they can take that number and show that to people that will give them money due to that number. That is my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong. And then the other side of retention looks like the dailies and weeklies and monthlies that I mentioned. These are built into the game to have players complete so that they can progress further in the game normally, or gain some item or gain experience, whatever it is. Now, if you miss out on the dailies or weeklies, you end up creating more work for yourself because you have to now do more XP, grind more to get an item, whatever the point of the daily or weekly or monthly is. So they want to keep you on that game through those so that you can save time, quote unquote, save time in the future by being able to do these weeklies or dailies or monthlies instead of the alternative, which is generally just playing the game. So it's repeated exposure to something like this is what's causing like the current boredom, which will turn into burnout within playing games. I myself play a game that is rampant with dailies, weeklies, monthlies. It's going through a fix right now. It's called RuneScape 3 or regular RuneScape or whatever you want to call it. And if I missed out on a daily or a weekly, that's going to hurt me in the future. There's an entire skill in RuneScape where when you hit a certain level, you just do a weekly to get XP for it. You don't even do the skill because it's that much of a time saver. So instances like that to retain players can have a very negative effect on the mental state of the player and can turn itself on the game itself. RuneScape had to do a massive update to attempt to regain players, retain players, as well as hopefully, pull from old school RuneScape, which is going through a bit of a renaissance right now. So it's trying to pull those players out by improving the game in a sense that they think will like that those players will like it. But it's all about capturing your attention and keeping you on the game. And these retention tricks over time are going to break down your mental barriers to things like this, and you're going to be burnt out and you're just going to stop playing the game. Now, to piggyback off that last statement, is not playing the game a bad thing? Depends. I mean, realistically, no. I mean, my hot takes sometimes is burnout can be good because it'll push you into maybe a more beneficial hobby, working out, reading, picking up a different skill, focusing more on school, anything like that when you put the game down. Because playing games is realistically a waste of time. But don't subscribe to that grind set mindset that I wake up at 4 a.m. I don't subscribe to any of that shit. I just don't. It just doesn't happen. I think gaming is great. I think it's a great relaxation. I've always made the comparison of, back however many years ago, people would come home and they'd watch the TV for a few hours and go to bed. If you come home, you sit down, you play a game for a couple hours and you go to bed, that's great. So if someone is playing for 18 hours a day and they're burnt out, that's probably healthy. Let's just be realistic here. They probably don't need to be playing the game for 18 hours. Now, I've had a few sessions. My friends will make fun of me. I spend all day on RuneScape sometimes. There's just stuff that needs done, and I want to get it done on days off, or I have free time outside of homework or things of that nature. So I don't necessarily think burnout is always a bad thing if it pushes you to a more positive thing. Burnout can be a bad thing if this is your only hobby, and it could spiral you into even a bit of depression. I know that sounds dramatic, but think of it like you work a menial job that you hate, and maybe you're in school, or maybe you're a little lost. You don't know what you're doing in life, and gaming is that relaxation, that kind of mental drop. You drop all the shit off on your brain, and you can just play the game. When you lose that type of method of calming yourself, because there's nothing to do and you just lay in bed all day and you are scrolling, you're on the TikToks, you're on the Reels, and you're scrolling and you're just consuming that type of content because nothing feels good, then that is a negative thing. So gaming industry has positioned itself as a primary relaxation method and calming experience to some people, but it's now turned it's a bit more of an ugly head, and it is about money. And to be fair, you need to pay the people that make the games. You got to pay people, so they do need money in some sense. But when does it stop? When does the greed stop? So I know there's a lot in this last statement here, and I hope you can follow it. But burnout isn't always bad, but the gaming industry is the cause of a lot of the burnout because of the greed for the money. On top of players are the cause of their own burnout because they might not be fruitful in other hobbies. This might be their only thing that they do. So really, us as small people with large companies, the most that we can do is stop playing the game and hopefully find a more beneficial hobby to help decrease any burnout. Because I know for sure when I've gone times without playing the game for a little while and do something else, hang out with friends, go play golf, read for a little bit longer, like and I'm just not on the game for an extended period of time, and I come back and it does feel fresh. So it's all about working in your own other methods when you may be burnt out of the game a little bit. Now, if you're an extreme and you play for that 18 hours a day and it's more of an addiction, then you need to search within yourself and figure some other stuff out. You might need to talk to someone. You might need to do any other factors that can help get off of that addiction, like any other addiction. As extreme as that sounds, that is definitely some people's life. Now, to bring it back a little bit in terms of general burnout, it is on both the gaming industries and the player to kind of police themselves to some degree to prevent burnout or further mental issues. Now, another sect of gaming that absolutely increases burnout very quickly would be competitive style games, right? Valorant, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Dota, Call of Duty, any competitive game that you can really think of typically revolve around seasons now, where you get your rank and you play for X amount of days or a month or a couple months, and then the rank resets. Obviously, this is a retention method. Because even as early as 10 years ago, this didn't really happen. I was playing Counter-Strike Go back during my first stint at college, and my rank never really reset unless they did a major update and did a rank reset. But the frequency is just so different. It's definitely feels, I could be wrong, but it definitely feels like it's a retention method to do seasons and to do rank resets constantly that keep people getting on, getting their rank, and trying to get a new high rank or try to climb out of a low rank that they're in. This is definitely a retention method because there wouldn't really be any reason why you couldn't just keep the rank that you have and continue to play the game on and off. Games at certain points when you reach certain level had rank degradation, but we're talking most games at your 0.1% or your 2%, 0.3% top players that would deal with rank degradation. Think of League of Legends Challenger, right? That makes sense because maybe it's a top 100 deal, and if they haven't played in 2 months, they just got the rank to get on the leaderboard. Yeah, there should be some rank degradation. If you're a silver 4, and I don't see a point in resetting a silver 4 every 3 months. I just don't. It feels like a way to keep you on the game and keep you playing, which would obviously cause layers of burnout. Whether it's burnout from every time you get on, there's 20 new items that you can purchase. There's a new champion or a new hero or whatever you want to call them. There's always something new, which honestly makes very difficult for returning players. So it's very interesting in regard to these companies because they are geared towards the people that is the game that they play. They get home, they play that game for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever, and they get off. They only play that one game. This strategy doesn't feel all that good for returning players or players that play every once in a while because the learning curve just continues to increase. When I first started playing League of Legends, they would maybe do one character a year. Now it feels like they do a character every quarter. Same thing with Valorant. They had the first agents, I forget how many, but they had like that set for quite a bit of time, and now they're releasing characters like crazy. So things like this definitely feel like money grabs. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, or if you disagree, definitely tell me. But this is my feeling of that nature is it's a retention method, it's a money grab at the same time, and they are probably the largest cause of actual burnout. I don't think burnout is occurring significantly much on single player games or casual cooperative games. I don't think that is occurring as much. It is to some degree, but I think a lot of the burnout is typically going to come from most competitive games because of having to get the rank. You're advertised to every single time that you open the launcher, the client, whatever. It's something in your face, buy this, buy that. And that feels wrong. And there isn't really any solution for that, unfortunately, right? And if you enjoy playing the game and you don't care about any of that stuff, and you like the competitiveness, you like learning the new champ, you like learning whatever new thing is coming out, that's great. You're not burnt out, right? You're just not. You wouldn't feel those things if you had any sense of burnout in regard to that particular game. But people that do get burnt out of the game, or they end up hating it, or they end up not wanting to play it, that those types of things are going to cause that, right? The constant updates, the constant new releases, the constant having to get your rank, things like that in the competitive scene are definitely going to cause it. But again, there's no really solution for it, unfortunately. And the gaming industry is so massive, it's hard to tell who's creating games strictly for enjoyment and not always necessarily a money grab, or to get you to spend money for greed reasons, but they genuinely enjoy developing, producing, and releasing the game. Schedule One, for instance, solo dev Tyler, he did a great job. He couldn't get content out quick enough, so people, when they're scrolling TikTok, ADD, ADHD, whatever brains, are going to be burnt out of it. The gameplay loop is the same once you hit a certain point, and you can arguably beat the game currently. But it was a great game, and that just came from a solo dev, right? It probably did better numbers than AAA games did, right? So that's a guy that probably genuinely wanted to release a game that people were gonna like, and people did like it. So the industry is just so massive. It's tough to always look out for these tactics of retention, and pay to play, pay to win elements, or the advertisement. It's kind of like, it feels like when you open up like a Riot client, or like Counter-Strike, that you're walking into like Times Square with just a ridiculous amount of advertisements, right? So these kind of factors are gonna increase your burnout, and they're gonna strain you mentally, even whether you know it or not. It's the whole point is to break down those walls, and maybe you will throw your credit card on there. Maybe you will buy that new skin, whatever, right? That is their end goal, not about creating a good product and creating enjoyment for a fan base and a player base. It's nowadays, especially in the competitive scene, competitive games, it feels, and in my opinion, that it is about money. And if I'm wrong, golly, I hope I'm wrong, but that is the opinion that I'm holding in regard to competitive games. But at the end of the day, I'm by no means an expert. All of this, just my opinion. If you agree or disagree, throw it in the comments below. As you can see, this is my first video on this channel. I don't know release dates, release plans. I don't know. I'm just kind of doing this as a hobby because I have all this stuff already set up for it. And like stated earlier in the video, it's good to have other hobbies. It's good to have creative outlets. It helps deal with burnout, mental fatigue, general depression. It helps with all this kind of stuff. So I don't have any socials or anything like that set up. Nothing really to plug. But if you liked it or agreed or disagreed, maybe drop a sub, drop a comment. I'd appreciate it all. But like I said, at the end of the day, just a hobby. I'm just trying to, fill some creative outlets, and see if there's, anyone that agrees or disagrees, or if I can get educated on anything that I may have said or misspoke about. But yeah, I appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful day.